tears came down my cheeks. I was like, oh, I've never felt this way before.
Do you have aspirations of getting married?
Whoa, I didn't see that coming.
MrBeast a fucking moron. That's like a constant battle for me. I have a mental breakdown every other week.
Something I want to talk to you about is the term beastification.
This is like a crazy sentence.
But do you feel like people judge your moves?
Just changing that took it from like a B to like an A++.
Do you feel like you're coming into a different state of being?
Yeah, I've never talked about this before. So this is gonna be a weird couple sentences, but do you guys do intros or how does this work?
That was the intro.
I knew you were gonna say that. I set that up so you could make that joke.
Yeah.
Oh, he hit me with it. Oh,
An
okay.
alley-oop from Jimmy.
Yeah. Anyways, we're in it.
We're in it, man. We did this almost exactly 2 years ago in this exact same spot.
Yep. Crazy.
And dude, being here it's so different.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Do you want to explain to them so they know the difference?
I mean, first off, there's a lot of stuff in here. Last time we were in here, it was completely empty.
Yeah. You know, last time we did a podcast, I would tell you to overlay things, and you guys never overlaid it.
No,
so are you going to overlay the footage this time
man,
of the last
come
time?
on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we'll keep it going. I know there's such a funny moment.
They're
in
like,
the
oh, we got like 20 million views last time. Why would we change anything?
You point to the camera and you're like, just roll that B-roll editor. Yeah, okay, thanks. And it just holds on you.
I don't know how we missed that.
I don't know how we missed that one.
Yeah.
It was 2 hours.
I did that twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this time we won't do it again. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, things have changed. Like there's so many people here working. There's like, it feels like very alive in this building. Obviously this building was brand new when you got it. Candidly, I feel like we've had so much fun over the last 24 hours here, just hanging out.
It's nice having you around too, because it's like a buddy to like work hard with, so I don't feel so alone late at night.
I think that's the thing is Colin and I were saying today, it feels so fun to be here because it's a bunch of people doing the thing that we like to do.
Yeah.
You know, we're surrounded by people who are excited about making YouTube videos.
Yeah.
How does it feel for you? Like the past 2 years, so much has changed.
Oh, it's the past 2 years?
Yeah.
What would you say I was at 2 years ago? So like right now I'm on like the main channel I have 160 million subscribers, but 2 years ago I mean
60
probably,
million?
Yeah. If that,
50
maybe
million?
like 40.
Yeah.
It was
it's been
before
pretty crazy.
Feastables, I think, was public. It was before your Squid Game video.
Yeah, before all that. So I mean everything's changed. It's definitely pretty interesting because you always think like, okay, this is roughly the top. This is like things aren't going to get much crazier.
Yeah.
And then we're growing so fast that it keeps getting crazier and crazier. And you're like, okay, you know, people are only going to stalk me occasionally. It's like, that's about as bad as it gets. And then it's like, oh, the frequency of people following me home from when I go to Walmart is going up. Or like, you know, when I go to an airport and wait in a line, the amount of people that, you know, harass me in these lines where I can't really do anything. And it definitely is a lot crazier than I thought, to be honest.
I think that, I mean, obviously the mathematical difference between 40 million people and 150
well, it's
or
even crazier when you
million.
take all my platforms because I think we're closing in on 400 million followers.
Right.
And so that's just, or even throw followers out the window because it's kind of a vanity metric. Who cares?
Yeah.
But like we're getting 30 plus billion impressions a year. So like 30 billion times, you know, now people are seeing my face and see me. So it's like, I don't like leaving this building. When I go out in public, it's just like, it's pretty brutal.
I think like the frequency of mainstream press too in the last year has gone way up. Like
100%.
not even just viewership on YouTube and people who understand and watch YouTube videos, but like New York Times this, Washington Post that, CNN, like anytime anything happens, it's like, whoa, these articles are everywhere. Or even when nothing happens, just like there's just stuff
or
all
even
the
like
time.
random shows will like mention me or things like that just because it's like when they, well, a lot of people now when they like think of YouTube, they associate MrBeast a little bit like they used to PewDiePie. So it just kind of gets out there. And there'll be people who are like, if you ask them, do you know who MrBeast is? They'll be like, yeah. And they'll be like, what do you think of his videos? And they will be like, I've never seen one, but I know who he is.
Wow.
And which is like, that has exponentially grown the last few years. And I'm kind of like, so how do you know who I am? Why are you asking me for a photo if you just don't you've never seen a piece of content I make? And they're like, oh, well, I heard you help people and you do this. And so it's like probably like 30% of the people I take photos with now just have no idea what I do. They just take a photo because they see my face.
So what do you think about that from like the I guess cost of this kind of scale for you from a like fame perspective?
Yeah.
Do you find it like that's just the name of the game? Like that is, it's worth it? Or does it feel kind of like an unanticipated cost?
Here's the answer. So like, it definitely, like, you don't think this, like every step of the way, like I said earlier, you think you've made it and you think this is about as crazy as it'll get. But like, if you have 1 million followers, like you guys, or you guys are probably bigger than that across everything, but if you go out in public, you'll occasionally take a photo. Like, you know, if you go to Walmart twice a week, you'll get every third time you'll take a photo. It's very validating. You're like, oh, this is awesome.
Yeah.
This is like a real career. Look, this guy noticed me. And then when you get to 10 million, it's like a whole different world. Like every time you go out, you're going to take at least one photo. And it's like, oh, this is awesome. You know, if you're with your girlfriend, you'll take a photo and it's like, look, people like me. But it's like very manageable. But you think that's like the top. But then you go from 10 million to 100 million. And next thing you know, when you go to Walmart, it's not like one photo or two. It's like someone asks for a photo and everyone else looks. And then like there's a line of 20 people. And then, you know, when you're checking out, there's like 5 people behind you, like, you know, what are you doing? What are you buying? Why are you buying those cookies? And it's like, just, you know, I just wanted to buy some cookies, you know, and like, and they keep following you because they're so like starstruck. They're like, oh my God, this is the coolest thing that's ever happened to me. I got to take advantage of this moment. And then they, you know, start posting and their friends come. And if you're like, I have a 5-minute rule. I can't be, after I take the first photo, I can't be there for more than 5 minutes because they always post it on their stories. And then all their friends always come to the place. And within 5 minutes, now there's like 20 other people coming here and it just gets so much crazier. So like you have random things like that. And then when you walk out of a store, you always have to look back and be like, yeah, it was nice meeting you. You don't have to follow me to my car. Okay, take care. You know? It's like, but you don't have to do that when you have 10 million subscribers. You just don't, you know? And so it gets like crazier. And then you get to that point and you're like, okay, this is about as crazy as it's gonna get, you know, and that's like probably me 2 years ago. And then now here we are with like 400 million followers across everything. And like, you know, I don't know, probably last month we gained like 20, 30 million alone. So it's like, it's still growing massively and it just gets even crazier. You know, people come to your house all the time. The rate of people following me home or like one thing that was, I just don't even understand it. That was wild was when we were going to Antarctica. And also, I hate that. So far, this podcast has been me complaining. I love you guys. You guys gave me everything. Like, so I'm very grateful. I love my fans. So don't take this the wrong way. This is just more an interesting thing that I've been thinking about a lot recently, not me saying you guys suck. Because this is also like 0.0001% of people. 99% of people I meet, super chill. Just ask for a photo and it's cool. But we went to Antarctica and on the way, we went to Chile and we stopped there for whatever, like 5 days. And I was, you know, in the airport, I was wearing my hoodie, sunglasses, just staring at the floor. I was like, if I don't take any photos, I'll just go straight to the hotel room. No one will know I'm here. And somehow this one like little kid recognized me. And I was like, no photo, please, please. And he's like, photo, because they speak Spanish. And I was like, I didn't know how to tell him no, and I didn't want to be mean. So I took it, and that was it. And I got in and out of the airport with only one photo, staring at the ground with my hood up. And then like in the hotel room, someone sent me an article that was literally written because that kid posted on social media, and then the local news picked up, oh, MrBeast is in town. It's a tiny town in Chile. Not much happens there. And then all of a sudden, people are like, oh, what hotel is he staying at? And then people figure out that we're at that hotel. Yeah. And now there's like 200 people outside this hotel running up and down the hallways, like knocking on doors, trying to figure out which room's me and Carl. And we also had like the dream team there as well, so which made it even bigger. And they're like, where are they at? And they're like, I was talking to the manager of the hotel. It's like, why don't just have your security like control things? And he's like, we do. And so I had to hire security to like help lock down this hotel because there's so many people. And then there's like people trying to camp outside the hotel. And we're like, this is not a meet and greet. Like I'm just here while I wait for my flight to Antarctica. And it's like that, it's like one of those moments where then now people know, well, eventually he has to leave and there's one airport. So there's just a sea of people waiting at the airport when you go there. And then it's like, at some point I have to wait in a line at the airport. And then it just gets even crazier because then the TSA people are like, oh, this guy's famous. Let's get him through the line because there's just a mob of people. And then they're like, but we'll do that if you come take a picture with our kids. And so it's like, I'll help you skip these pictures if you take these pictures. And it's like all this crazy stuff. And I'm like, everybody, I'm just trying to board that plane. Like, let's but none of them, because we dub our videos now and we get like 10 to 20 million views in the first month and just Spanish on our videos. So we have a massive Spanish audience. And so like none of these people speak English. So I'm like really struggling too because I'm like, hey guys, I'm a little uncomfortable. There's a lot of people around me, but they don't have any idea what I'm saying. And they're just like, you know, photo. And so anyways, you get experiences like that where you're like, you seriously question like, is this actually worth it? Like, because obviously it just makes traveling and everything infinitely more stressful. And
and it's interesting because when you're sitting here, like we were with you in an edit session last night, like you're crafting the videos to get as big as possible. So it's almost like both things are happening at once, right? Like the bigger the videos get, which you just literally, the yacht video was what, the
The second most viewed YouTube video, non-music, and YouTube history in 24 hours. So the most viewed video in 24 hours is when Will Smith slapped Chris Rock. I think that got 48.2 million views in a 24-hour period. Before that, it was our Squid Game video, but now our Squid Game video is number 2. Then we just uploaded a video that beat Squid Games, but barely lost by like 500K views to the Chris Rock video.
I mean, that's crazy, right? So you're at this moment where you're reaching the most amount of people. So that,
literally, like, the most you could ever fathom. It's going to continue.
If you were to get a 1 out of 10 on your channel in the YouTube studio right now.
The only way this is like a crazy sentence, but the only way my next video that I upload is a actual 1 out of 10 is if it is the most viewed video in YouTube history in a 24-hour period, because my last video was the second most viewed video in YouTube history in a 24-hour period. And so I'm like talking to my team because they obviously care what the video is out of 10. Every creator does. And I'm like, hey team, I think on this one, it's okay if we get like a 4 out of 10, a 5 out of 10. I think we can understand. And they're like, no, we want 1 out of 10. I'm like, guys, let's just be realistic here. And that's like the conversation I'm having to have with my team earlier today. It was funny.
I would say another thing that I feel being here in the last 24 hours is and even just talking to you over the last couple of weeks, is like an immense sense of focus. And, you know, like I feel like the main channel is like, you've put a sense of focus on it that is like showing up in how it's performing.
Yeah.
Right? Does it feel like that to you, or does it feel like similar, I guess, to how you've treated it in the past?
Well, you know, there definitely was a period in my life where I was focusing a lot on gaming channel and stuff like that. For the last 14 years, the main channel has always been my focus. Just sometimes I put a little time here and there, but right now it's really 3 things that my entire world revolves around. I work out every day, I work on main channel videos, and I work on Feastables. It's just those 3 things. I wake up, I do that, and then when I'm done, I go to bed, and I just do that every day.
Yeah, I can feel that focus. I mean, you also like. We worked out together this morning.
That was fun.
You're really strong, dude.
We're getting there.
I'm not like you were.
We're on day 300
I was like,
of
oh my
working out
God.
every day. Actually, today was 310. So me and Eric, another YouTuber, we signed a contract where we'd work out every day, and if we didn't, we'd get a tattoo of each other. Yeah. And like, you're okay to have a day off if it's like actual part of your program. So occasionally have rest days. But for, you know, the most part, the last 310 days, me and him have worked out every single day, and we've held each other accountable, and it's been awesome. Because I was just so laser focused on the channel and I just like realized one day, I was like, I have not been working out or like taking care of myself or anything. And then I called Eric and I was like, this is a problem. Like, let's do this. And he felt kind of the same way. Although I was really fat. He was just like, whatever, a little chubby. And so that was almost a year ago, and we've worked out every day since. And Eric is looking yoked.
Yeah, he's
You
jacked.
can throw a photo of him up. Because he was already pretty lean, and so he was just stacking muscle. Up to this point, I've just been losing fat, so it's a lot harder to just put on muscle when you're losing fat, but it's been fun.
Yeah, it's fun, man. It was like being in the gym this morning was awesome. Like you built like a really cool compound here.
Thank you. Well, and my little thing on that before we move on, it's like, all you have to do really is like, just work out for like 3 months really consistently, and then it'll just become part of your lifestyle. Like I couldn't fathom a year ago, like, how am I ever going to do this religiously, you know, because we just have so much stuff going on, but now it's just truly a habit.
And does it help you? Like, do you feel tangibly different? Like even mentally, or not really notice?
No, I mean, right now in the short term, I'd probably upload more and get more done if I didn't work out, to be honest. I mean, it's like an hour and a half every day, and then the food, and I do 15,000 steps a day. So it's like, all that is very freaking time consuming. But I think in the long run, yes, it'll pay off.
You feel less stressed because of it?
No, I feel more stressed. I mean, I just have less time to work on the main channel. It eats up at least between the steps and that, at least like, you know, well, the steps, I take phone calls while I do it, but at least 2 hours of my day that previous to 310 days ago used to go to the main channel does it, you know, which that's a good chunk of time.
What do you think makes your job stressful? What's the thing that if you could solve one problem?
I mean, it's a lot. It's, I mean, the thing is, you know, all our videos are different. So it's like, you know, if I had to do like something like Survivor, or not Survivor, it's just pick like almost any show, like Hell's Kitchen or anything that still airs. Like there are like formats that are just the same thing over and over again. And you do 10 seasons of that. And after like 50 episodes, you just got it down. You know, people have done it so much. It's so easy. But for us, because we're always trying to push and do something unique, it's like, this is our, you know, every third video, it's our first time ever doing that. So we make all these mistakes and mess up so many different ways. And then it's like, oh, well, now we know this, but, you know, then we usually do something else because we're always trying to be original.
Yeah.
And so a lot of our problems are that because we try to be original, and then I don't know. It's like, yeah, it's never stops. You know how it is. Like we're just going a million miles an hour, and it's like I'm 14 years in this. I've been going since I was 11, so it's like I'm on a treadmill, maxed at 12, and then I just like fucking hacked it to go 24 miles an hour, and I'm running full speed, and I haven't stopped for a decade. So like that too, it's like it's pretty hard to tell when it's like one of those moments where you just push and it's like stop being a pussy, just keep going, or it's like, oh, I'm actually burnt out, like I'm losing my mind. And things like that,
Do you have the same passion for YouTube when you wake up every day? Because last time we were here 2 years ago, it was just like, I just want to make the best video possible, best video possible.
Bro, everyone sends me clips on the podcast. They're like, you said that at least 20 times in this podcast. No, I would say I have more passion, to be honest. Every day I fall more and more in love with YouTube. It's like pretty crazy. Because, in the past, every big creator always seemed to get burnt out at some point. It seemed like this inevitable thing. Eventually, you get burnt out. I've heard this a million times. Like, when I was 19, they'd be like, you're not going to be able to do this forever. Eventually, 5, 10 years from now, you'll be too old and blah, 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 and you'll get burnt out. But here we are. I'm 25, and I love it more than I did when I was 19. So
I mean, we were with you last night until about, 11:30 on a main channel shoot.
Yeah.
Then we came here. And
that's just normal.
Step straight into an edit. Yeah. But it I also felt the energy of it. I was just like in it. It was exciting.
Yeah,
like it was really fun. Because all of it, I don't know, like even the main channel shoot we were on, actually watching it was fun, unedited.
Yeah.
Which was so cool to see that like if the idea is good enough to watch live and enjoy as just a real-time live experience, it's going to be extra fun to watch as an edited experience.
Yeah.
It's like the simplest thing, but I was just thinking about it like last night.
You could have just filmed that whole session.
And it would be fun to watch.
And live streamed it, and it would have popped off.
And it would have been fun to watch.
Yeah.
So that's I think like something that I was like, oh, that's what gives these videos so much energy. They're fun to watch live.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you about the Hi Me in X years.
Oh, yes. I forgot about those.
When's the next one?
You can't tell us.
Well, you can. Because
I feel like that's part of the excitement.
But you can look at Hi Me 1 year, Hi Me in 5 years, and then just deduce like 10 years is the next one, and it's going to be 5 years from Hi Me in 5 years.
So, how many of those are there?
Oh, there's a bunch. But the next one is Hi Me in 10 years,
and
it comes out on October 5th. 2 years from now.
Oh so my God.
One of these October 5th.
So interesting.
Or maybe it's October 4th. Yeah. It's very close.
Are you filming them now?
No. I filmed them all. When I had 8,000 subscribers, I sat down and I just cranked out a bunch of videos. And the schedule, I was like, this goes in 6 months, this goes in a year, this goes in 5 years, this goes in 10 years, this goes here, this goes there. I just cranked them out. So Hi Me in 10 years goes up, which is a video I filmed when I had 8,000 subscribers.
That's crazy.
I think I was like 17. Just like failed a history test and studying for my next one, but I hate studying, so I just like I was acting like I was studying when my mom walked in, but I obviously who cares? And I just whipped out my phone. I was like, all right, this video is gonna go public in 10 years, and I can't spoil what I say, but it's pretty crazy. I tried to guess how many subscribers I would have 2 years from now.
Wow,
it's completely wrong, obviously, but it's pretty crazy. And I was just like, all right, by now, I was like, you're either homeless or you're doing YouTube full time, and I hope it's the latter. It's
so funny that this is like, is this what you envisioned full time YouTube to look like, or was it something different?
At that time, here's the thing: I have a little bit of like warped perception. To me, in my head, it's like my initial reaction is like, oh, of course. I always thought, I reinvest all the money. I'm going to get this big blah blah. But then sometimes I put I really, really think hard, and I have to like watch old content to get deja vu. And I'm like, oh no. Back then, like 1 million subscribers would have been everything. I was like, that would have been the pinnacle.
Yeah.
So I'm a bad person to ask because I warp like the future and the past is warped. Like to me, like when I hit 100 million subscribers, like in my head, I had already had 100 million subscribers for like 5 years because I was just like,
that makes sense.
I had envisioned it so much that it was already reality.
Yeah.
So I'm like the worst person to talk about the future or past with.
So I wanted to talk about you were talking about like every few videos you're doing something for the first time.
Yeah.
I have felt though that this year you've found some formats that you're working on that are working really well.
That's what we talked about a couple days ago.
Yeah. Like some of those formats I'm noticing are like the versus format is great.
Yeah.
Right. The hotel.
I love those videos too.
Yeah. The hotel and the yacht one, like those are really fun to watch. And it does seem like from hotels to yachts, you got better at that format.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you watch $1 versus, what was it, $1 million hotel room?
Yeah.
Like that video sucks compared to $1 versus a $1 billion yacht. It's infinitely better. Like the transitions are smoother. Just even like we don't over film. Like with hotels, we're filming like 10 hours in these hotels and we're doing all these things because we don't know what we want to put in. Whereas on yachts, it's like, because we did plane ticket and we did hotels, we did like bought a $1 plane ticket, compared it all the way up to 500K. It's like, I know roughly what we're going to put in, so I can focus my energy on like the cool things. Like, you know, and like in the previous Versus videos, like one thing we learned is like, I would just have someone show me around and they would just like, be like, oh, this is what's in this hotel room. This is what comes here. But typically, me and the boys aren't as like, you know, out there when we're around random people. These people are typically lower energy and it's a little boring and they're just like, okay, next to your bed is a pillow or this thing, a little bit of chocolate. And you're like, okay. It doesn't make the best content. So what we do now, like on yachts, is we don't have someone show us around. I just unleash the boys. Cool. I clear the set. It's not really set, but I just clear the area. And I'm like, boys, go be stupid. I'm like, do what you want. They're like, can I jump off it? I'm like, why haven't you already jumped off the boat? I don't care.
The helicopter was crazy.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was crazy.
So I let them go wild and like discover things. And instead of someone going, you know, press this button and this comes down and it's lame, we press a button and we're like, oh, ooh. You know, and it's cool. It's
those videos are cool because we get to experience something we'd never experienced through you guys.
And that's a way of how we've learned, like through doing that format a couple times, like this is a better way to film it. And then I have that, you know, person who owns the boat come and show us through it after we're done being idiots. Cool. So then if there's anything I missed, he'll tell us about it and we still have those shots. And like just changing that took it from like, you know, a whatever, like a B to like an A++. Yeah. And it's so interesting because all we did the same filming, we just filmed it differently. And it's like, that's stuff you learn by doing the same content over and over. But it's also hard because like, you also got to be original and mix things up. And if you do the same stuff over and over again, you'll eventually fall off. So that's like the constant tug and pull for most people.
We also need to give some credit to Pete Davidson and Tom Brady. Yeah, I don't think we can do this without mentioning their appearance in that video.
They're cool. I noticed a lot of comments that were like, oh, I didn't realize like 6 minutes in, Tom Brady would just spawn. And I didn't even think about that when I uploaded it, that we didn't even allude that,
that he was going to come.
In hindsight, I should have said like in the first minute, oh, and by the way, Tom Brady will be in later in the video.
But it was more exciting that it was a surprise.
Yeah.
And then those clips also then like get out there, right? Like the Tom Brady clip of you guys.
They got some views, but I don't know. I mean, the retention on that video was better than any of our other videos. Yeah. So I don't know how much that actually helped, to be honest. Because like, the Tom Brady clip started going nuts, like on ESPN and all that stuff, but that was like 2 days after we posted it.
Yeah.
It was very weird,
I think
like
that
seeing
plays
the lag.
into though why people know you now without watching your videos, right? Is because like clips like that are becoming more and more mainstream.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, right.
And that hits a totally different audience.
That's a completely different audience, which is crazy that you can be hitting 100 to 200 million and there's still a whole audience.
And then other people take it and share past it.
I mean, even crazy. For me though, I learned about that video on Instagram. Normally I would see it on YouTube. And click based off the thumbnail. But you posted something on Instagram and it said that Pete Davidson and Tom Brady were going to be in it. And I was like, I kind of have to, I kind of have to see that, you know, and that.
Well, are you going to throw that Instagram post up or are you going to make them close the app?
We're going to make them imagine it in their heads.
You're going to make them close the
leave
app.
this pod.
And then go open it.
That would be the ideal.
Or you just put it right here and your retention's better.
I also think though, like that almost felt like the modern day talk show in a way where like Pete Davidson was showing up on your show. Do you know
agree.
What I mean? Like,
I think having...
It's not exactly like that. Like Dobrik kind of did that a while back where like Justin Bieber would show up in the car or something like that.
The thing is like, it's also, them aside, I'll just talk blanketly. People like that tend to be the people I gravitate towards more to now because they just kind of understand my life a little bit more. So I also just like having other famous people, if that's the word you want to use, around because it's like kind of cool to see how they deal with all these random problems I'm starting to have. So I mean, sure, it's great because it helps the video, whatever, but it's also just literally fun to be around them and see like, how do you deal with all this stuff? What is going on? And also it's like, you know, they're infinitely better on camera too. So I don't have to like Tom Brady or Pete Davidson, you don't have to like, you know, tell them like what to do or anything. Like, like a camera's just rolling and they're just funny and they're just cool and great. So it also like makes it so much more fun for me to film because, you know, I'm not like stressing out or like, ooh, they're kind of whispering. That's not usable. They're just like great. And it's like awesome. And I just exist and we just joke and be funny. And it's like, it makes filming the video 10 times easier.
Yeah.
Did they give you any advice on the boat?
Well, Pete Davidson, maybe not the most family friendly stuff. We were joking the whole time. But no, Tom all around was just great. It was really fun. I don't even remember. I was just having a good time.
So there's that, you know, one verse a million or, a billion format that I've noticed. Then I guess when I zoom out, like you've always done kind of human experiments, right? Like the one
experiments.
No, but you know what I mean? Like social experiments kind of
whatever,
like 1 versus 100.
Cool stuff.
Right? Or 1-year-old versus 100-year-old. Is that what it was called?
Yeah.
Ages 1 through 100 compete for.
Bro, that was probably the most complicated title I've ever done. And somehow it did well. I don't even know.
But that concept was really fun.
Yeah.
And you're doing things now where like, I felt connected to the contestant at my age, which is so smart, right? When you do that, you're like, I'm 33. So I was connected to the 33-year-old, right? I was like, okay, that's cool. And I can say on your new video, there's something similar that kind of feels like that.
Yeah.
But at the end of that video, the stakes rose like crazy. And I didn't anticipate that.
Yeah, I have so much to say there. It's like, I used to be a big fan of like simplicity. Like keep the challenges as simple as possible. I was like, 200, some of these videos, 300, 400 million people are gonna watch it. Like it's a lot of people. I gotta like make this stuff as simple as possible. Or like, some of these 400 million people just aren't gonna understand it. They're just not, is what I used to believe. But in that video, I was like, you know what, screw it. I'm just gonna throw my preconceived notions out the windows. Like these like challenges, if they vote for them, I'm gonna make them a little more complicated. I'm gonna add some more like things that you have to like flick your brain on to like really comprehend. And like, the last challenge, like, when I'm filming it, I'm like, oh, man, I just don't see how like everyone actually understands what's going on. Like the whole like, 2 briefcases, one has 500,000, one doesn't, no one looks in it. And then one person looks and then they decide if they swap. Like that is one of the more complicated things I've done. And so after we filmed it, I'm like freaking out. I'm like, oh man, I don't know. But I like grabbed that, I had them edit that clip and I just went to like 40 people, from all ages. And I was just like, watch this and tell me if you get it. And all 40 of them were like, yeah, that made sense. I understand it. And like, as long as they were actually paying attention, it made perfect sense, And I was like, oh. And then I was like, okay. And then my nerves calmed down and I uploaded the video. And instead of people being like, I'm lost or I don't understand the ending, everyone's like, oh my gosh, the ending was like, oh, that was so cool. It was like
really the best.
It was so thought provoking. I was so grabbed. And so like, it changed my perspective. Like, I actually think I can have more complicated stuff and people still easily follow along, even though I have the skill I have, which I didn't think so before, which is why you should always innovate and adapt.
Well, also, let's think about football, the Super Bowl. Like, football's a really complicated game.
It is.
Right? And,
it is.
And a lot of people watch that game, but it's pretty complex.
Yeah, but they've also had training their whole lives and blah, blah, blah.
And when it comes down to it, it's also like one team is going this way, the other is going that way.
Because like, I still don't even fully understand football. Exactly. I'm just like,
boxing is so interesting because it's so simple.
I think, when I watched that video, you also left space for character building, which is something we talked to you about 2 years ago.
Yes, sir.
It was advice from us that, like, not to say that that's
no, of course,
at all
go for it.
part of
no,
it.
We'll take everyone tells you.
Like, there's an element of, when you make space for character building, potentially people click off.
Yeah.
Because they're like,
exactly. I was worried about that before.
I'm not connected to that person. And in that video, I think you successfully pulled that off, where one of the final contestants, it's his daughter's birthday.
I know.
And she comes in and like, he's emotional.
Yeah.
And that was one of the first times where I was like, whoa.
We had a guy who was in a cube for like 7 days. It was his daughter's birthday. And so we brought his daughter in. It hit hard. Yeah.
Did you almost cut that?
No, bro. When I saw that the first time, I literally cried. I was like, oh my gosh. Like in person, I was kind of crying. But when I saw the first cut of the video, I literally, tears came down my cheeks. I was like, oh, I've never felt this way before watching one of our videos.
Wow.
Like even just thinking about it, like I tear up a little bit.
You're getting teary eyed.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's good. That was a very emotional moment. And so, that video we tested a lot. We tested a little more complex challenges, but we also tested like, screw it. Like people say they want better stories from us. Let's do it. And again, that's where I threw all my like things I normally worry about out the window there. I was like, simplicity. I was like, screw it. We'll be a little complex, and then on the other end, it's like, I'm very, fast. I was like, let's slow it down. Let's build some characters. Yeah. That's what people say they want. And they worked. And everyone's like, those are the two reasons we love that video. And so.
Is it like people say they want it in the comments on Twitter, people you trust that are close to you? How does that get?
Almost all around. Like that, those were some of the bigger criticisms I would get. Because I always, I call you guys all the time. I'm just like, I'm telling people, roast my videos. Like even Squid Game, some of the biggest complaints was like, I didn't feel connected to the viewers or to the contestants. Yeah, as much as I'd like to. So the thing is, I've never really gotten good at that. So that's something we've been honing a lot recently. And I love it. So but it's also like, part of it too is I've come to realize like not every video is the same, which is obvious, but it's like, there are videos where storytelling's great, like the 1 through 100, where you have a ton of contestants and you build them up and blah, blah. And so then when people win, you're like, oh my gosh, like I care about this person. This is awesome. Yeah. Like, I love this feeling, and I love when their 3-year-old comes in. But then there's videos like the $1 versus $1 billion boat. Like, it's not about me. It's about it's about my experience on these boats, but ultimately it's like about these boats. Like, that's what they're watching. How cool? What's the difference?
It's our experience of it.
Yeah. But the story is also like, what is the difference between all these boats? And so like that's where it's, I mean, people watch this and be like, heard it, or obviously, but it is like just figuring out what kind of story applies to what kind of content you're making is a lot harder than it sounds. And in hindsight, it's always like obvious, but like you have to make big decisions. And these are multi-million-dollar videos that are filmed over the course of weeks that we set up for months. And it's like all these like million decisions lead to this final video, and to protect the story throughout all of it is like very hard. But that's one of my priorities for this year, to also like elevate the videos.
It's like important to surprise your audience sometimes with the impact. Like we were watching last night a cut of the experiments video.
Yeah.
Right?
Rough cut.
Yeah, you guys are working through it.
Yeah.
But like the emotion there is just, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
wow.
like a cycle.
Just keeps hitting you of like, whoa, I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
Right? And if you did that every single time, it gets boring.
Exactly.
Or you
Yeah,
get
it would get
desensitized to it. Right?
Yeah.
And so by switching it up and being like, no, this time it's character building, and you have to follow characters throughout the entire episode, it makes us work as an audience.
Have you ever seen the show Love, Death, Robots?
No.
Oh, you should watch it. It's on Netflix. It's good. It's kind of, I'd say it's like the closest thing on Netflix to what we do, even though it's not real life. It's like animated and like different, but every episode's like different. Like one episode's like about robots taking over the world and what would happen. And it's just like 20 minutes. And the next episode's like 8 minutes about, pirates back in the day when they have a mutiny and like how they overthrow the captain and like random things like that. But like the theme is every single episode, it's either revolving around love, people dying, or robots. And it's really cool how they tie it together over the course of many seasons. And I think it's kind of what, like with us, like the themes are like, doing good, helping people, hopefully soon, like great storytelling, the boys and I having fun, blah, blah. And so like you have all these core things, but you can apply it to all these different formats, but those core things will be there.
Right.
And so, we just mix it up as much as possible.
That's cool. You tweeted something recently
I
about.
did.
Well, you tweeted a lot of things. Yeah. You tweeted a lot of things.
I was like, which tweet?
Yeah. Well, I'm also a subscriber to Twitter, your Twitter Blue. But you tweeted something about
all $10,000 a month.
I pay my dues here. You tweeted something about
I'm gonna
wanting
face
to.
this towards that camera. There you go. So
You wanted to test what you do on a streaming platform, and then you tagged a bunch of streaming platforms, which I loved because I was just imagining the meeting rooms in those streaming platforms. Being like, did you guys see this tweet from MrBeast?
And the funny part is we're already in talks with a lot of them, so a lot of them were like, "Why'd you do that?" Like we already are talking. I'm like, I just thought it'd be funny, and they're like, "Yeah, but." We're already talking about a show, and like, so it's kind of funny.
Why do you want to do that? Like, why do you want to take what you do and put it on a streaming platform?
Yeah, so, well, the thing is, like, YouTube is great. Obviously, I love YouTube, and YouTube's always gonna be my number one priority. It's just interesting that serialized content isn't the best on YouTube. Like, if I made 10 episodes and 30-minute episodes of something, it just doesn't belong on YouTube. It just doesn't. And I don't even think YouTube themselves would argue that. You know what I mean?
It's meant to be viewed as individual pieces.
Yeah, as of right now.
Yeah, as of right now.
And I also just, like, there's a lot of people that use Netflix that don't watch YouTube. And so it'd be cool just to, like, make content for them. And also just, like, test our limits. Like, because I do think... Well, I don't know how to say I don't have an ego, and I don't care. Like, this doesn't matter to me, but I do think a lot of people are like, oh, well, he's just good at gaming the YouTube algorithm, even though we have hundreds of people that work on our videos, multi-million-dollar productions that no one else in the world could do for what the money we spend. Like, it would take Hollywood $20 million, I can do for $2, you know what I mean? And we're consistently churning out some of, the best content you can find, you know what I mean, better than anyone else. So, but a lot of people are like, oh, it just games the YouTube algorithm. So I'd love to, like, jump to a new format, just quickly crank out, 10 episodes. I think I have a great idea, like the largest game show in history with the most contestants in history with the largest game show prize in history. And I know we could crush it, just using our studio space and everything. And I think it would just go wild on Netflix. And then, I don't know, for me, it'd just be a fun challenge to show like, no, we're not just gaming YouTube. Like, I can also make a hit Netflix show that, tens of millions of people want to watch. And then just come back to YouTube and keep doing my thing. It'd just be like a little side quest. That's fun.
Because it's not like YouTube would stop. The crazy thing too is if you took time to go do that, it's not like your videos aren't getting viewed on YouTube.
Well, I would still do YouTube.
And you would still make YouTube.
Yeah, I would just figure out a
Yeah.
way to do it where it doesn't hurt YouTube. But yeah.
That
So-
would be super interesting. So you're in talks.
Yeah, we already know what we're going to do.
already know what
It's
you're
just
gonna do.
figuring
Okay.
out like,
Who's going to do it?
yeah, I mean, because like if it's 10 episodes, I mean, like on YouTube, some videos I'm spending up to $4 million. So
Yeah.
like if I'm doing a 10 episode show, and I mean, in bare bones, if I wanted to stay the same as my YouTube channel, I mean, that'd be $40 million. But if I want to elevate it even more, which you should on a streaming platform, I mean, it gets pretty crazy. So it's just a lot of money. And so just figuring out like, do I want to do it myself and then like go to them and just be like, hey, here it is. You don't get to tell me what to cut or anything. I just swear to God, it'll crush.
Yeah.
Or do I partner with one of them on the front end so they can help alleviate the costs and they get it? I don't know. I've never done it before. So kind of figuring it out.
Are there some things you know you would do differently on a streamer because it's not on YouTube?
Well, yeah, I mean, the everything would breathe a whole lot more.
Yeah.
So we would pick things that, well, like also like you don't have to like hook people as much. Like I don't have to, you know, so after I get people through episode 1, you know, they're invested in the characters we would have in these game shows, and they, you know, so I don't have to like be screaming at the start of all of them and convince them to watch. They're watching, you know what I mean? But it'd be so awesome. Like, I mean, picture like Squid Game, but like 10x. Like that's what I would do, you know, with the set. But also, obviously, actual Squid Game, not ours, was scripted. You know, this would be unscripted. And so, like, but picture those same crazy sets and experiences, but unscripted, where it's actual, real, raw emotion with, you know, I don't know if it's 1,000 or 10,000 people that dwindle it down to one competing for the largest cash prize in history. It'd be awesome, you know, especially now that we're getting better at storytelling and how to build characters and stuff. I'd love to take all that knowledge we've learned and just apply it to a longer format. It'd be so much fun.
It's so interesting you bring that up about like the different environments and what the viewer expectation is and what the creator does in those environments.
Yeah.
We've been talking about it in the terms of permission and interruption. So like if I buy a ticket to a movie and I go sit in a movie theater, you know how weird it would be if I left after 70% of the movie?
Yeah.
You know, or like 30% of the movie.
You're a lot more willing to like, you know, grind through some like dull moments.
Exactly. And so that's like permission. Like the audience has given you permission to tell you this 2-hour story or an hour and a half story. But on YouTube or TikTok, it's like kind of interruption. It's like this thumbnail is meant to interrupt your feed and make you so curious that you click through, and then you know you need to keep.
And then in the first 30 seconds, you got to explain why it's important. And it's like you basically it's like you're a salesman, you're a salesman, you're a salesman. If you do it right around the 1 minute mark, now you're not a salesman.
Right.
You got them convinced. They bought with their eyeballs. Now it's just like, here's what you came for. Enjoy
it's
it.
so interesting. Man. That's such a
Whereas
different
like
environment.
movies are so opposite, man.
Yeah.
Like it's so brutal when you sit through like 5 minutes of like shit just popping up on the screen before a movie, and I'm like, why?
Like
Why is this necessary?
Title sequences and
can you
like
think? Do you remember
exposition.
any name in any movie you've ever watched that popped up? Like, why is that so necessary? Can we just move on? Like,
just send us a text.
Can you just put it at the end? Like literally, just put it at the end. Like at the end of every movie, just have fireworks pop up, make it cool. Have the main characters just be like walking back and forth. Then put the names at the top,
or do like the outtakes or like extra scenes,
or at least put
whatever.
their face up there. Like if you put their name with like a little face, then I'd be like, oh, and maybe I'd start to like recognize.
It's so interesting. Like credits haven't been changed in movies.
I know, it's wild.
Yeah, it's so strange. So what do you think? We talk about this. We talk about the landscape of YouTube a lot.
Yeah.
And like in 2023, what do you feel like the landscape of YouTube is?
Yeah.
And what do you feel like it's missing?
The hard part is, I go through cycles watching a lot of YouTube. I'm so knee deep in grind mode right now. I'm not even.
You're not watching YouTube.
I'm watching so little content on any platform. Like, I uninstalled TikTok and everything because distraction. So, like, I literally just wake up and I work out.
Yeah.
And then I work on my videos, and then I work on Feastables, and then I go to bed. And like, I try to hang out with my girlfriend a couple hours here and there.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm probably the worst person at. You tell me, like, what's going on in the platform? I feel bad. I'm so out of the loop because I'm like so knee deep in like what I'm doing that I'm not even keeping up with everyone else. I feel kind of shitty.
I think a lot of the consensus lately has been that it's stale in a way. And even speaking with you last night, I think you
last time I used YouTube a lot. Yeah. It's like, who
like,
are the new people? Who are the things doing creative stuff?
Yeah. And you know, something I want to talk to you about is the term beastification.
Yeah.
Because
we got emerged on our show.
I think so. Yeah. Maybe from Ryan Trahan. Because we had people come on the show and talk about the beastification of YouTube.
Yeah.
Which meant that people on YouTube are following in your footsteps and trying to copy you.
Yeah.
And so the thumbnails look the same. A lot of the concepts look the same.
I know.
And so when you open up YouTube for a period of time, it just felt like, wow, why does every thumbnail look the same with just a different person's face?
Yeah.
Why do some of these concepts look the same? The subtitles feel the same.
I wish people would like there's like inspiration and then there's just stealing. And so many people just steal what I do. Like so many people literally just put their face on my face.
Right.
Or just take my thumbnail. Or literally verbatim say what I say at the start of my videos or like all my things. And so like, it's pretty interesting because I think the podcast we've done, like every time I've done these podcasts, we did them almost every year for like 3-4 years. I just come on here and I say everything I know. Like I don't hold back. I will literally come on here and tell you guys every little thing I know about getting views on YouTube. And I know thousands, tens of thousands of creators have watched those and literally, that's the reason why they're making $10,000+ a month because they're just like, oh, Jimmy just literally laid it out. I just followed it. So there's that positive, but then there's also the negative because so many creators have watched it and instead of like taking inspiration from me, they're just like, oh, I'm just going to do exactly what he's doing. And like, it's pretty brutal. I don't call people out that copy me because, not everything I do is original. You always get inspiration from somewhere. So I try not to be hypocritical because it would be very easy for someone in my spot to just start going off on creators. Because there's so many that just to a T just steal everything, my thunder and all that. Like I'll spend 6 months working on a project and millions of dollars and all this time and effort and brain power. And then after I upload 2 weeks later, someone will just do the exact same video, say the exact same words with the exact same thumbnail. And it's like, they didn't have to do any of that, But yeah, I don't know. I almost wish it was one of those things where people would self-police it more and just be like, no, like, it's okay to draw inspiration from me, but just don't do what I do to a T. Because but I'm never gonna like call out and trash on people that do because I'm not 100% original. Like it's not like $1 versus blank. I'm the first person to do it. But I just, saw that format and I was just like, how can I do that 100 times better?
Right.
How can I put 100 times more creativity into it? How can I level up the editing by 100 times? How can I spend 100, blah, blah, blah. And that's always my mindset. How can I like, if I get inspired by something, how can I do that but 100 times better and make it my own? Whereas a lot of people are just like, oh, MrBeast did that. I'm just going to do it.
We got some, so we talked to the author of the book Steal Like an Artist about this topic.
So many people have recommended me that book. I haven't read it yet.
It's a great book. It's about like what you're saying, like everyone steals from someone, right? Yeah. Everyone's inspired from someone.
Exactly.
But his advice was to go back further. Like if they want to copy you, try and figure out who you were inspired by. Try and figure out like all the way back, what's like the lineage of this inspiration, which I think is interesting. And then he also talks about the difference between plagiarism and transformation.
Yes.
Like, how do you look at what you're talking about is transformation? You said, I saw a concept and I said, how can I make this 100 times better? How can I go like
Which is perfectly fine.
That's totally fine. Yeah.
Exactly.
And I think that's where people need to understand is that if you see something on YouTube that you're into, transform it.
Exactly.
Take it and change it, right?
Yeah.
Don't just, because if you do the same thing, you said this on a podcast recently, but you said like the next MrBeast is not going to make videos like you.
No.
And I believe that. I think that's not going to happen.
No, you're never,
it's just not
no one's ever going to do what I do better than me. Like, it's just not, it's not even humanly possible. Like, I reinvest every penny I make.
Yeah.
I work every hour I'm awake. I devote every atom in my brain to solving this. I hire the best people on the planet. I've been doing this for 14 years. And I think in decades, not years. So I'm going to be doing this for another 20, 30 years, not 2 or 3. So no, the next me isn't going to be me because no one's going to do what I do better than me. It's not possible. If I thought someone was doing better than me, I'd just start sleeping less so I could work even more. Like I'd figure it out. I don't give a fuck.
The barrier to entry to be you is extremely high.
Yeah.
Right? Especially where you're
well,
at
it's just because I'm all in. I'm crazy. Like people shouldn't be me. I don't have a life. I don't have work-life balance. My personality, my soul, my being is making the best videos possible, entertaining my fans as best as I can. Like that is what exists on this planet. And I don't recommend it. You know what I mean? Like you should have work-life balance. You should not devote your entire life to this one thing. Like go have fun. Like, you know, I'm miserable a lot of times. I have a mental breakdown every other week because I push myself so hard. Like I don't recommend it, you know?
How do you come back from that?
I just don't know. I take a couple hours off and then, and that's it. And then I watch some anime and then I'm good to go.
Watch some anime.
Yeah, but I also feel like hanging out with you over the past couple of years, like this year particularly, you do feel like lighter. Not like your weight. But like,
Thank you.
But like you do feel lighter.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like even when we were hanging out this morning and working out, like something feels like, do you feel like you're coming into a different state of being?
Oh, 100%.
Because I feel like you are. Like I feel like you're, maybe you're just more comfortable with the level of pressure. Does it feel like that?
Yeah, I definitely, my level of care has definitely gone down quite a bit.
Yeah.
It's just like I don't have any fear of falling off or I don't have much fears at all. It's like, I'm just so laser focused on like, here's what I got to do. I've got clarity I have clarity on clarity on clarity of what I want to do. It is like, I want to wake up and I want to figure out how I make the best videos possible. That is it. And it's like so clear. I don't have to like wonder like, oh, should I be doing this or should I be doing that? Or like, and you know, it's like, as long as that's all I obsess over every day, no one's ever going to do what I do better than me. And people are going to continue watching it. Like if I'm spending 100 times more than everyone else, I'm being 100 times more creative. I'm putting 100 times more effort in, and I'm hiring the best people in the world, and I'm doing blank and I'm doing blank. Then like people are going to show up. And so I don't have a fear of falling off. I don't have a fear of anything. I just wake up and I obsess over this one thing with my entire soul. And it's great. And like, like I said, like right now I'm in a rut where I don't even watch YouTube. Like I have no idea what everyone else is doing. I don't care. I'm just doing my thing, and I'm trying to go as hard as I can and make it as good as possible.
Do you crave competition on the platform?
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome.
You wish
that'd
there was someone to compete
Bro,
with.
you would unlock such a different level. If someone started, you know, doing videos like at my level or better, and people are like, ooh, MrBeast, you know, this guy's better than MrBeast, I would go so just bananas working. It would be crazy.
I've also competed with you in things. Like basketball and Catan.
Are we going to bring up basketball again?
No,
I wish we could have played tonight. That would have been fun.
But I'm just saying, like, you are a competitive guy. And I feel
100%.
like
I'm one of the most competitive people on the planet.
I feel like you crave a competitor right now.
Oh, it'd be awesome.
Yeah.
It'd be so much fun.
And maybe that's what going to a streamer.
It'd be terrifying. Like the kind of videos I'd be cranking out would, like, I'm already pushed to the max, but I'm serious. I would just be like, okay, why do I need to sleep 9 hours a night? Can I just start sleeping 6? All right, there's 3 extra. Boom, 90 hours a fucking month.
It's an invitation to compete.
Bro, I don't care.
I think though, like,
I'm crazy.
The fact that you're including more storytelling in some of your videos, I think is representative of competition a little bit. That there are some channels that, sure, they're not doing the numbers that you do.
Yeah.
But there are channels that have like impact and even just the overall sentiment, right? Of like, we want more characters, we want more storytelling.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think if you look at YouTube, the platform, there's the chance that over time, what is deemed the best could change.
Oh, of course.
Style of content.
Yeah, and the thing is,
content.
like, even though my videos were the best, like, it's not like they were the best because there wasn't storytelling. It was just the best because of the effort and blah, blah. But there's always, that's what I'm saying, there's always a way to improve them. And for me, one of the things I lacked was storytelling, especially the further back you go in my videos. Like, I didn't go to college to learn this stuff. I didn't, you know, I don't have mentors or trainers teaching me any of this. I'm like learning as I go. And I'm like, you know, like we talked about before, I'm running 24 miles an hour on a treadmill. And sometimes it's even like hard to look up and breathe and be like, how do I learn storytelling? What does that even mean? What is this Dan Harmon thing? And you know, this three act structure. What does that mean? 3 acts, like, you know. And so it's like slowing down the treadmill enough where I can like focus and study and learn all that stuff, and then bring it in and then figuring out how to apply it. Like, you know, because I have tried storytelling before and created 10 out of 10 videos that just bombed. And it's like, interesting. Okay, what did I do wrong there? And so it's just like something we've been slowly working on. And now we've really finally started, it's clicked. Like I understand, because it's not like, I can't just go grab someone from traditional and go teach me storytelling. Because they'll just be like, do this 3 act structure. And I'm like, okay. And I read books and I study and I'm like, that just doesn't work. And they're like, no, it does work. And I'm like, no, it just doesn't. You just don't get YouTube. Like you can't just break a video into 3 acts. Like that's just not, I mean, sure, maybe you could, but it's just not like, that's not optimal, and things are so dynamic and changing. And like, but I was like, but I'll just take what I think would work and I'll just like throw it in this pot. And I think like, oh, I like this kind of thing. And oh, I learned that from that book, and I'll stir it. Oh, that's a 10 out of 10. Okay, maybe we do that. Okay, that's like a 5 out of 10. We didn't bomb. And then, you know, and then eventually you get like 1 through 100 and stuff like that.
What's your relationship right now with short form content?
I mean, it's a no-brainer. You should be doing it. Yeah.
But you're also making a lot of short form content. And some of the short form content you're making is what used to be long form YouTube videos.
I know.
Right?
It's pretty crazy.
It's really crazy. The fighter jet one was crazy.
Yeah.
When you had...
Back in the day, so what's interesting is like, back in the day, I would do entire videos around like, you know, can 10,000 fans push a car? Like that would be a whole video. Now for me, if I did 10,000 fans push a car, that'd be a 1-minute segment in an experiment video. If that, maybe it would be a short. So it's like my videos now, some of them are literally just 10 of my old videos put together. Like that's how crazy it's gotten. Yeah, agreed.
And like they're expensive too. Like you asked if someone would go to Paris to buy you a baguette. Which was a very fun short.
Yeah, my shorts lose so much money.
But someone actually flew to Paris. Like he flew someone to Paris.
Yeah, exactly.
They did it, and they come back. And it's a really fun short. But I was thinking, I was like, 5 years ago, that's a long form YouTube video.
Oh, 100%.
You know?
Yeah.
Like it's so crazy that has gone condensed. And I would argue that does work in a 3 act structure, right? Like
on short form?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
short form you can do more stereotypical stuff because you're not trying to like hold people for.
The question's kind of the hook, and then like there's exposition of like here's the concept in Act 1. Then he goes to Paris as Act 2.
I think
and
also
he comes
just-
back. That's Act 3.
Or
Due
even,
to
like,
the
we're gonna
fact
see
that-
who's going to pass out first in a jet.
Since you have to
Here they go.
condense a story to sub-minute, you kind of it has to be broken down very simple. So like almost any structure you could be like, oh, it applies to that because it's like basically sub 1 minute stories are just like bare bone storytelling.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have time to be dynamic.
But I like the POV stuff you're doing on short form is really interesting, where it's like your hand and your voice, right?
Yeah.
Because it becomes very much about the situation, like the two people who went on a date.
Exactly.
International
Part of the
date
thing
was
with
really
short form
interesting.
too is it's like because it's vertical, it's very hard to fit a lot of things in the frame is one of the things I'm learning. And it's like the thumbnail, there is thumbnails in short form, not when you're on the homepage, but when you're swiping. And the thumbnail is the first frame. It is.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's very hard to fit tons of people. And so sometimes it is easier to remove me from the frame so you can be more focused on one person and get like a better reaction. It's just same reason
cool.
why some
That's
thumbnails,
really cool.
it's not me and people, it's just me. It's easier to focus on one person. And so like I try to think of the first frame as the thumbnail.
So I heard you guys talking about autoplay on YouTube,
Yes.
and I've never considered it. I've always thought about the thumbnail, but now on YouTube, videos automatically play.
Yeah, here, let me show you the autoplay for one of my coming up videos.
Okay.
This is how seriously we take it. Look at this shot. Like, so I have this fully rendered out. This is just the intro for our next video. Oh yeah, you probably saw it, yes.
Yeah, we saw this.
This is the autoplay. See,
Oh
that's
my
the
God.
autoplay.
Yeah.
Got it.
So,
Like, how do
wait,
you-
so all you have on your phone is the autoplay.
Yeah,
is
because
the first,
that's what's gonna play.
it's the
and-
first 5 seconds.
Exactly. Like,
And
so-
you make sure the first 5 seconds looks like the thumbnail.
Of course. So before you film a video, what is the thumbnail? What is the video? And then what's the first 5 seconds? And then what's the first 30 seconds? You know, by the first 5 seconds is like goes with the thumbnail.
Because it's possible that people open YouTube and
They don't see it.
They don't
Especially
even see the
for
thumbnail.
us, because like for so many people I've watched hundreds of our videos, when I upload, I am first on your homepage. So like you just literally don't even see the thumbnail because it autoplays so quickly. So like the thumbnail is irrelevant. I have to like visually convince you to click on the video.
Wow, that's so interesting.
Yeah, that's why we go so hardcore.
Dude, that's so crazy. So do you consider also captions in those first 5 seconds? Because
Of
people
course,
aren't
all of
watching
it.
with
Yeah,
audio.
everything.
Yeah.
Everything, yes, 100%.
Wow. So those first 5 seconds, that hook is now even more important than it ever used to be.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, before it was important because you had to convince people to watch.
Yeah.
Now you have to convince people to click and watch at the same time.
Whoa.
With the first 5 seconds.
That's driving CTR now too. Yeah.
It is,
Interesting.
100%.
Wow.
I roast the hell out of people who like have boring first 5 seconds. It's brutal.
What role does short form play? Is it audience growth, brand growth?
On YouTube or across
Just
everything?
across the board. Like,
Yeah. I mean,
you just said like it loses money.
Yeah,
right?
well, short
You're-
form is like an interesting thing because like never before in history have you been able to make a piece of content that goes viral on Facebook, goes viral on Instagram. I mean, Reddit has where you swipe through, can go viral on Reddit, can go viral on Twitter. When you tap on a video, Twitter you can swipe through, go viral on TikTok, and go viral on YouTube. Like if you make the right kind of short form content, you can literally grow across every platform. Like Cabby
also go
Lane
viral
doesn't
on
make
LinkedIn.
Instagram specific content. And what does he have, like 80 million followers?
I think you're neck and neck with him right now.
Yeah, well, but whatever. But on Instagram, he's like
Yeah.
80 million
Yeah.
followers, right? But the guy doesn't even use Instagram. He just reposts his clips of
Right.
it, right? Same thing with a lot of other people popping on short form. So like short form is very interesting because it's like, you don't have to be like a god at YouTube. You don't have to be a god at TikTok and then a god at Snapchat and then a god at this platform and that platform. You can actually, it's very weird. It's like this has never happened in social media. It just never has. You can master this one craft, and by mastering that one craft, you can grow across all platforms, which it's just like, even for me, like I would say I'm one of the best in the world at YouTube, but I'm not one of the best in the world at Instagram. I'm just not, you know? But if you master short form really high level enough, you can be one of the best at both because being the best at short form means you can have popping reels and popping shorts on YouTube. So to me, it's pretty fascinating because you like if you play your cards right, you can grow on every single platform, which is wild.
That's an encouragement to everyone watching to clip this.
Yeah. Spread
Share.
these clips.
Spread these
Yeah,
clips.
Do it.
Yeah.
Do you care if they re-upload it on
No,
TikTok?
no, I don't
Guys,
care.
easy way to make money.
Yeah.
Get the clip in. They gave you permission.
there
I want to
is-
see TikToks. I want to see shorts. I want to see reels every single moment. Subtitles. Make the subtitles better. Bro, do that thing where they throw their cringe violin with subtitles. You know what? Screw it. Figure out a different instrument. You're up here. You're different. I want to see it.
Dude, honestly though, it's so interesting. I've been thinking about the concept of clipping like that.
Someone's gonna work wonders.
Someone's gonna work wonders on that.
You know what? Make that viral.
Yeah.
This right here is on TikTok, and you're watching it, and it went viral because it's ironic.
I was curious about how you think about your own visibility like that, like people clipping you.
Yeah.
And that's a whole nother layer when we were talking in the beginning of the show about fame and like how visible you are. It's not just your videos. It's like
so many,
millions of clips.
1 to 100. There's someone clipped took a 2-minute segment of the video and put it on TikTok, and it had 40 million views on TikTok. And these guys are just like, so many of the comments are like, "Where do I find this? What is this?" And people are just like, "It's MrBeast," and then they'll respond like 2 hours later, and they're like, "Wow, I just watched 10 of his videos. Where is this been?" And I see stuff like that all the time. So short form's like great. That's where when I hear creators are like striking other people that do re-upload their videos or whatever, I'm like, you're crazy. This is a funnel to your content.
That's like undervaluing, brand. It's undervaluing. Like if I was like, hey, I'll give you some free billboards, you know, and put them everywhere.
Exactly.
And you're like, no, take them down.
Exactly. So I love it. Clip my videos. React to my videos on your Twitch stream, your whatever stream.
Yeah.
Clip my videos, put it on TikTok. I don't care. Just make sure you get views.
I think that's why we have a lot of new creators right now, because in a very short amount of time, you can make a ton of content and you can grow a big audience.
Exactly. And I don't think not a single person is actually using it correctly. Like no one, there is no like MrBeast of long form. There's no MrBeast of short form yet. I think that someone who's actually like figuring out and crushing it. Yeah. And so I'm like excited to see like, who are those people? Who do they shape up to be? Like we had Charlie and Addison Ray at one point, and like they're doing fine, but I wouldn't say like when you think of TikTok, you don't really think of them anymore.
No, the TikTok is very much a stepping stone.
Yeah.
Right? To do something else. Either YouTube or like go into the movies or do music, or it feels like
YouTube
it's like
back in the day.
Yeah.
But someone needs to come along. You know what's funny? We're the 5th most followed account on TikTok. And at the rate we're going, we're actually gonna be number 1 on TikTok as well, which is kind of funny.
Which is crazy, yeah.
That is actually wild.
But you're also doing specific concepts for short form.
Well, for TikTok as well. Yeah. Anytime there's huge trends, you know, I just kind of look at the trends. I'm like, oh, that one's big. Let's do it.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever.
I remember Corn Kid at
he was cool.
opening. Yeah, he was cool.
Fun. It was fun to hang around.
That was fun.
So it's just, I don't know. Like that, you're right. Like so many people on TikTok are using it as a launch pad. It's like, oh, I can't make that much money or blah, blah. Which same thing was back in the day with YouTube.
Yeah.
You know,
it was pre-television.
No one 10 years ago when I was grinding and putting in the hours would ever have thought you could do the kind of revenue and money I'm doing now.
Yeah.
But you have to have a little bit of that faith. It's like someone needs to just go, no, YouTube will or TikTok will keep growing.
Yeah.
I love this platform. I'm just going to go all in. And when the money's here, the money's here. Or I don't even care about money. You know, just screw it. I just want to be the best. And I just feel like I haven't seen many of those people, you know, that are making mass appealing content with that mindset.
One of the most substantial changes to the business from 2 years ago to now is Feastables.
Yes.
And like, you know, even walking around this campus, I was thinking about it, and there's Feastables everywhere.
Yeah.
And I was like,
I hope.
I was like, is this a chocolate company?
With a YouTube channel?
Do you know what I mean? Like, is this, are we at it?
Or is this a YouTube
You
channel?
finally figured it out. No, I'm kidding.
No, but that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, this is a chocolate company with mega distribution, right?
Yeah.
Because and we were talking about this before too, but like as the business grows, like Feastables is going to dramatically change your relationship to advertising.
Yeah.
Like the advertising business, the brand deal business, ad revenue, all that. Like Feastables is the business, right? Well, is that how you see it? Or
the thing is, like,